Hey there. Today, I want to dive into something that's so relevant, especially in today's world: time management and the surprising value of boredom. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but boredom is often overlooked and actually plays a key role in how we can make the most out of our time. We're living in a world where distractions are everywhere, right? Social media, Netflix, endless notifications, all these things pull us in different directions, leaving us little time to actually sit with our thoughts. And because of this, many of us have lost the ability to engage with ourselves, to really think deeply, and to connect with what's going on internally. It's like we're always consuming, always scrolling, and as a result, we're never alone with our own thoughts. This idea isn't just me saying it. It's actually something that James Clear talks about in his book Atomic Habits. Clear makes a strong point that we need to let ourselves feel bored sometimes. Think about it. If you never give yourself space to be bored, you're always reacting to something external, something outside of yourself. But when you allow for boredom, you're creating space for reflection, which is where so much personal growth and insight come from. In those quiet, still moments, when we're not filling every second with distractions, we actually process our experiences, understand ourselves better, and come up with ideas that might otherwise stay buried under a pile of notifications and distractions. Now, let's talk about one of the main culprits here: our smartphones. They started off as these incredible tools, right? They keep us connected, give us access to information, help us navigate our lives. But somewhere along the line, they went from being practical tools to becoming sources of constant distraction. What used to be a device for calls and maybe checking emails has now turned into this all-encompassing portal where we can endlessly scroll, binge, and swipe. It's like we're addicted to the idea of having something to look at all the time. And a lot of us don't even realize how much time we're spending on these apps, just mindlessly scrolling through feeds without any real purpose. Take Snapchat, for example. It's designed to promote these quick, fleeting interactions, but sometimes it fosters habits that aren't exactly healthy. We get into these loops where we're constantly checking to see who viewed our story, who liked our posts, how many messages we have. It's like we're seeking validation from all these little digital interactions. And in doing so, we're prioritizing these online personas instead of the real, authentic connections that we could be making in the real world. And when we do this day in and day out, we're basically training ourselves to crave instant feedback and social validation, which just reinforces the habit. It's a tough cycle to break, especially since these platforms are designed to be addictive. They keep us coming back, because they're built around this dopamine-driven feedback loop. But what's the impact of all this, really? When we're constantly reaching for our phones, we're not only distracted, we're also losing our ability to focus on anything for a long period of time. Our attention spans suffer, our productivity dips, and we find ourselves more stressed because we're not managing our time in a meaningful way. And beyond just productivity, it actually affects our overall happiness. When we fill every spare second with something external, we start to lose touch with what actually fulfills us. We're so busy consuming that we're not creating or even just being. We're neglecting the part of ourselves that needs stillness, that benefits from sitting with our own thoughts and just letting ideas form naturally. This is why boredom is actually so valuable. Boredom has a bit of a bad reputation. Most of us try to avoid it because it's uncomfortable. But it's in these moments of boredom that we get to know ourselves. When we're not distracted, our minds wander, we reflect, we come up with new ideas, and we start to understand what really matters to us. This can lead to real personal growth. We can start to see where we want to improve, what we want to focus on, and maybe even discover interests and passions we didn't know we had. Instead of trying to escape boredom, what if we tried to embrace it, even lean into it? What's really interesting is that when you practice this, when you make a habit of just sitting with your thoughts rather than constantly grabbing your phone, it actually helps you to build better habits overall. You're more mindful of how you're spending your time, more intentional with your choices. You're not just reacting to every little impulse or notification, and that's where the real value of time management comes in. You're taking control of your time and making space for what really matters. That's what James Clear is getting at in Atomic Habits. That small shifts, like embracing boredom instead of avoiding it, can create big changes in our lives. So, Maybe the next time you feel that urge to pick up your phone during a quiet moment, try resisting it. Let yourself be bored, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. You might be surprised by what comes up. Over time, it might just help you reconnect with yourself, with your creativity, and with what truly makes you happy. Time management isn't just about getting more done. It's also about making space for the things that genuinely enrich our lives. So let's give ourselves permission to slow down, to be bored, and to rediscover the power of just being present with our own thoughts.